Hi everybody, welcome. Today we're going to do a Shavuos special shiur. Shavuos is in a few days, Kabbalas Torah, big stuff. Very excited. So here we go. We're going to start off with the Me'or Einayim, and then we are going to go to our Breslov sources. Okay, so the Me'or Einayim was a student of the Baal Shem Tov, and he wrote like different things on each parsha. So this is the Me'or Einayim on Parshas Yitro. Okay. At the moment when Israel put Na'aseh v'nishma, we will do, before we will listen, a heavenly voice came out and said, "Who revealed this secret to my children? The language of the angels." That is from a Gemara in Shabbos, 88a. So, the Me'or Einayim is going to further explain this piece, right? When Bnei Yisrael said Na'aseh v'nishma, a heavenly voice came out and asked, like, how did Klal Yisrael know to say Na'aseh v'nishma? This is actually the language that the Malachim use. Okay, so here we go. Now he's going to explain. Now it is known that there is a world of pleasure, the world of understanding, and when one speaks the speakings with joy and passion, with love and reverence, the pleasure comes to him afterward. For at the beginning, he must exert himself in service, which is his arousal and longing. Right? So the Me'or Einayim is coming to teach us that there are these two worlds. The first is the world of pleasure, of bina, of understanding. And the second is the world of longing and arousal and trying to kind of more the doing, right? And we know that this is true with so many things, right? Like even basic example, exercise, right? First there's like, okay, I'm going to start working out, and it's actually even painful. You're breaking muscle fibers and building new ones. And then afterwards, you feel great. You look great. You're stronger. You're more fit. That's the world of pleasure. That's the world of understanding. And the Me'or Einayim is highlighting a point here that this is the way things work. We love to do things quick, and we love instant gratification, like microwave dinners, and I want to be skinny, so boom, I just, I want it to happen in the second. But that's not really the way the world works. The way the world works is that there's like difficulty and complications and work, and then from there you come to like understanding and pleasure. And I think he says, and listening connotes understanding. And he says from a verse in Bereshis that Yosef understood, for without their needing to exert beforehand, it would not be considered service, but merely a desire like any desire. I love that this line here, and listening connotes understanding. Like, we're not talking, when the Jews said nishma, they weren't talking about like listening, like just shallow listening with their ear and hearing. They're actually talking about a much deeper listening, which is really understanding. Like so many times you'll talk to a friend, right? And I mean, this has happened to me before, and I'll tell them like something difficult that I'm going through, and they'll give me like a whole, okay, but like Hashem runs the world and everything is going to work out. And like, I don't disagree, it's true, but I want it to be heard first. I want it to really be like understood. And like sometimes when people are just like so quick to give solutions, you're like, they don't get it, they don't understand. So this listening that we're mentioning here, this nishma, we're really talking about this, as the Me'or Einayim puts it, the world of bina, like this deep understanding. So, and the Me'or Einayim continues, I'm just going to read back in, and that is the meaning of Israel saying, Na'aseh v'nishma, from Shemos, we will do and we will listen, which is to say, we will do the service and exert ourselves, and afterward we will come to this world of pleasure such that it will be considered service. Right? So the Me'or Einayim is teaching us this is what the Jews meant when they said Na'aseh v'nishma. They meant, we're going to do it, suffer through the Torah and mitzvos. We're not going to really understand the pleasure of it. And then we're going to get to nishma. Then we're going to get to this deep understanding and this deep pleasure that comes from like being like, oh, this was worth it. This made me into a better person. Like I love this, right? But that doesn't come right away. It doesn't come right away. When you're working on something and you're killing yourself to get it done, could be studying for a test. It could be dieting. It could be even working on spiritual things as well, right? Like every day I try to do, for example, like every day a person might try to do hisbodedus, right? And like they're just like they feel like they're getting nowhere. But eventually they'll get to we will listen. But first you have to like kill yourself kind of to get there. So when the Jews said Naaseh v'nishma, again, this heavenly voice came out and said, who revealed the secret? And the question really is how is it possible sorry. Okay, I'm just going to skip that part. Okay, so now the Moranim continues. The truth is that no person is able to stay at one level always because the life force ebbs and flows. It comes and goes, meaning that when he's attached to Hashem, he feels life force and pleasure, and afterward he moves away and falls from his level. And contained in this are the secrets of Torah. The reason why it is necessary to fall from his level, and one reason is so that he can arrive afterward at an even greater level. For in everything there must be absence before presence. So the Moranim takes this from like the singular to like, this is actually like the cycle of the world. And this is the way the world works. And he even says here, this is actually the secret of the Torah. Because he's saying the truth is that no person is able to stay on the same level. Like, we feel attached, we feel close to Hashem, we feel connected, and then we don't. And then we feel this lacking and this chesron, like this chisaron in us. Maybe we woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Maybe, those days where we're just like, we don't feel like ourselves. And that's the way, and the Moranim is saying that, I'm just going to read the sign. The reason why it is necessary to fall from his level is so that he can arrive afterward at an even greater level. The point of all that lacking and absence is in order to get this greater presence. Yurido l'sorach aliyah, like we have to fall in order to grow. When we want to rise to an even greater level, there must be an absence beforehand. Therefore, one must fall from the level at which one currently stands. Moranim is saying it's not possible it's not possible to just go from level to level to level. There has to be a fall. And then that fall, that feeling of the lack brings us to this like connection and this immense presence. It's an incredible, incredible thing. So a person must, even in falling from his level, make an effort to rise up to Hashem in the level at which he now stands. For one must believe that all the earth is full of Hashem's glory, from Yeshaya, right? Melo chol haaretz kivodo. And no place is void of him. And even on the level at which he now stands, Hashem is also there, because no place is void of him. Only he is very contracted. So what do we do when we fall from this high level? Like, what's the Moranim telling us? The Moranim is telling us that we need to remember something very important. We need to remember that even when we're on the lowest level, even when we feel like Hashem doesn't love me, I'm just a pathetic human being, like why would he care about me? Even at that point, we have to remember there is no place where Hashem is not. Hashem is everywhere, in everything. And even in this low place, and even in my low place, Hashem is here with us. I'm skipping a little more. And this is called, we will do before we will listen, even in our falling from our level, to attach to Hashem in that level as we've explained above. And afterwards we will listen, since the essence of listening is understanding. meaning that one will come to an even greater level as we have explained above. So this is the essence of the Na'aseh V'nishma. This is what we're saying, that we get it. Hashem, we understand what Na'aseh V'nishma means. Na'aseh V'nishma means, like, even in our falling, even when we're in, like, the lowest place, we understand that, like, we're going to do as best as we could. We're going to try to attach to you from this low place. And from there, Nishma. We're going to get to Nishma. We're going to get to this deeper understanding and see, like, oh, this really helped us grow. And this brought us to a higher place. It's like, you know, an extreme example, an addict hitting rock bottom. But I think, like, we go through this, all the time in big ways and in small ways. You know, even just not finding a parking spot and just feeling like, oh, why can't I find a parking, you know, like, why can't I find this parking spot? Like, Hashem, how come you're not here with me? Or the key, I think, is really being self-aware and being honest with yourself and feeling all these lacks. Like, just like an addict, again, like they say the first step of self-awareness is the hardest step. And here too, we have to be honest with where we're at, and we have to be honest with all our disappointments in life. And then from there, come to, like, see Hashem in that place and come to acceptance. So, so the Morainaim continues. I'll just, like, read it a bit outside now. The Morainaim continues. So what's this with, like, who revealed this secret to my children? So when we think of the who, we have to remember, it's not like who revealed the secret to the children. It's actually a hint to us to remember that the who is, who is Hashem? Like, who, he wants us to remember who gives life to every single thing in the entire world, no matter what level you're on. Who gives life to you while you're feeling just like you can't even get out of bed in the morning? It's Hashem. It's Hashem who does. And that is like a hint to us to remind us of this whole Na'aseh V'nishma, that there's no reason to freak out about the falls. And there's no reason to shame ourselves and feel bad about them. They're part of life. You know, like a heart rate, it goes up, down, right? It never stays. If it stays the same, you're dead. This is the essence. The essence is that we're always moving. And even we're always moving, and we're always going up or down or up or down. And if we use these downs correctly, meaning being self-aware and being honest and trying to find Hashem in that place, then it will take us to this high. It will take us to this feeling of connection. And the Morainaim continues. There's another quote. On this day, they came into the wilderness of Har Sinai. That's in Shemos. So why does it say on this day? And the Mefarshim explain that on this day, meaning Hashem wants Torah to be new for you every day. So it's very hard. Like, how could Torah be new for us every day? And the Morainaim explains it's exactly this point, because every single day, probably even like every moment of every day even, we're constantly going in this cycle of feeling this detachment and then feeling connected. Feeling this detachment and then feeling connected. You know how it is. Things are coming at us 24 hours a day. Things are constantly coming at us, and a lot happens in a day. We speak to way more people than we've ever spoken to in history, you know, and things are constantly coming at us, constantly. Everything's so fast. And like, so this is it. This is the secret, to know that we're rising and falling throughout the day, many times a day. And like, coming to the Torah from your new place is what's considered making Torah new every day. Okay. So I wanna take this into the Breslov sources. Rebbe Nachman speaks a ton about this topic, about Yeriza L'Tzorech Aliyah. First, this is probably first of all, I'm reading from this book, The Essential Rebbe Nachman, from Rav Avram Greenbaum, and it's kind of like Cliff Notes on a lot of and it's divided by topic. It's awesome, about things that Rebbe Nachman says. So, okay, so I'm reading, so this is the Cliff Notes of of Likutei Moharan 6, okay? This is probably like one, I think this was actually the piece that made me be like, I don't know, when I didn't know what Breslov was, like, I don't know what Breslov is, but like whatever it is, like I need to find out more and like get more of this. It's like, I think this was like that piece for me. Okay, so here we go. The ways of Teshuvah, 2 skills. And this is a quote from Yecheskel, the living creatures were running and returning. If you want to follow the ways of Teshuvah and return to Hashem, you need to acquire 2 different skills. Right? So if you're a person who's like, I want to shape up, I want to come close to Hashem, then Rebbe Nachman's telling us you need to acquire 2 different skills. And in the Hebrew, he says you have to do halacha. So halacha means, like actually keeping the Torah and mitzvos, and knowing how to, which I'm sure he meant as well. But he's flipping it to even mean halacha, like walking. We need to walk in this way. And now I'm going to read what he means. The first is the ability to run forward, at times a spiritual ascent. And the second is the knowledge of how to return when you encounter a setback. These 2 skills correspond to how the angels in the prophetic vision were running and returning in Yecheskel. Okay, so this is huge. So Rebbe Nachman says you need to be a baki, an expert in running, the baki v'shava, in returning. And like the godless in this is like huge. Rebbe Nachman's saying like when you're in those times of feeling amazing and feeling like you're just so close to Hashem, so you don't stop. You have to run as like far as you could and grab as many mitzvos and learn as much Torah as you could, because you're feeling good. So use it to run forward. And when you're in these times of like not feeling so great, you read, feeling very anxious, feeling like mochen dekatnas, like small-mindedness, like tunnel vision. At those times, like you have to learn to return to yourself, to know how to encounter a setback, to know how to manage your low. And I think this is so huge, because he's not saying like push through and just, power through, power on. He's saying like know how to return. Be real with yourself. Be honest with yourself and know how to encounter the setback. These 2 skills I read that. Okay. Whether you feel you are advancing or not, or even if you feel you are sliding backwards, always stay strong and follow David HaMelech's teaching. If I ascend to heaven, you are there, and if I make hell my bed, behold, you are there, from Tehillim. If I ascend to heaven, if you succeed in rising to some high level, don't stay there and content yourself with what you have achieved. You must have the skill to understand and believe that you are obliged to advance even further. This is the skill of running forward. If I ascend to heaven, you are there. And think about what he said originally, right? Like, if you're going to be an expert in the running and returning, then you're going to know. Like, if I'm an expert in running, then I know that, like, oh my gosh, like, I'm on a high now, and I am going to grab whatever I could grab and do whatever I could do. Conversely, even if you fall in some way, never give up hope. This is how we should handle the falls. Don't give up. Don't shame yourself. Don't think that you're worthless because you feel this way right now. Seek out and entreat Hashem constantly and strengthen yourself as best as you can in the place where you find yourself. God is present even in the depths of hell. And that's similar. That's what the Mori and I am saying. Like even in the lowest place, Hashem is there. So at those times, like seek out Hashem. Even there, you can attach yourself to Hashem. And if I make hell my bed, behold, you are there. That's the quote from Tehillim again. And this is the skill of returning. The skill of returning is don't shame yourself. Don't give up hope. Understand that this is part of life. And say to Hashem, like, help me get out of this. Seek Hashem in that place. Only through the acquisition of these 2 skills can you go in the ways of Teshuvah. Only when you're an expert in this, when you know, like, time to run, time to return, time to run, time to return, and try to think of it of just like, without all the overthinking that comes with it, just being real and just being in the now and knowing when to run, when to return, then for sure, like there's no way, like this has to be the secret. This has to be the secret in order of like how to really be this come close to God and really like, be this expert in teshuvah. Okay, so I'm gonna read one more also Cliff Notes from Likutei Moharan. This is from Likutei Moharan 22. When the time comes for a person to rise from one level to the next, he must first experience a fall. The whole purpose of the fall is to prepare for the ascent. So when I gave this year, some people had problems with this, but like Rebbe Nachman's saying here, a pretty wild thing, right? When the time comes for a person to rise from one level to the next, he must first experience a fall. He must first experience a fall. Not many times he falls. No, he must experience a fall. The whole purpose of the fall is to prepare for the ascent. Try to understand this and you'll realize how determined you must be in order to serve Hashem. No matter how far you fall, never allow yourself to be discouraged. Remain firm and resolute and pay no attention to the fall at all. I love that he says that. Pay no attention. Don't overthink it. But when we fall, and Hashem should give me strength and all of you strength to really embody this, but there's no need to shame ourselves. There's no need to be upset about the fall. Just maybe we should even get excited. It sounds like from this we should get excited and we should just be like, all right, I know like a high is coming. I can't wait. I know that I'm going to feel this inspiration, this attachment to Hashem because I'm here in this fall right now and good things are going to come from it. Because in the end, it will be transformed into a great ascent. This is its whole purpose. This applies to all the different ways one can fall. Each person always thinks that his own situation is so bad that this does not apply to him, right? Like how many times do we get in our own head and we think like, no, we're the only one that's pathetic like this and we're the only one that like can't get our acts together. So many, right? Like okay, for sure in spiritual ways 100%, but even with like making dinner for our kids, right? Like, oh, every mom makes beautiful shabbosim and makes beautiful dinners and does this and does that. Like, no. Everybody goes through stages, but we think it's like we compare ourselves to others and we think it's only us. And Rebbe Nachman's like, he's on that. He's like, everybody thinks this doesn't apply to him, right? People imagine it applies only to those on very exalted levels, only those people who are perfect, who are continually advancing from level to level. But you should realize that it holds true even for those on the lowest levels because Hashem is good to all, right? Hashem didn't forget you. Hashem remembers you. Hashem, and as the Mori Naim says, if you're alive, then Hashem is breathing life force into you and you count as well. And this rule applies to you as well, that you need the falls in order to experience the highs. So on that note, I'll just end with a tefillah and a bracha that Hashem should bless us all, that we should really be in this expert. We should really be experts in running and returning and like be real with ourselves and know exactly when it's time to grow and exactly when it's time to just to take a deep breath and to retreat and come back to ourselves. And it should bring us closer to Hashem. And this Shavuos, we should all feel a true Kabbalas HaTorah and be excited about accepting the Torah. And yeah, okay. Thank you very much for listening. Have a great day.